here to tell you that your whole life can change in a moment. And this is that moment. And this is the word.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another awesome, amazing episode of The Word, the unofficial preacher podcast. I'm your co-host, Steve Areno.
And I'm the guy that keeps it explicit. What's happening, everybody? My name is Dan, and I'm damn ready to talk some preacher this week. What's going on, Mr. Steve?
Well, you know, it's been an interesting day, an interesting few weeks. When the kids are going back to school, it makes for interesting times, as you've known throughout your life. And this is my last time doing it because my son is a senior. So, it was pretty busy. But other than that, it's been a great, awesome, amazing week. How about you?
I'm on my last week of working, dude. Or of not working, actually. I got to go back next week, and I'm pretty bummed out about it, actually. I'm trying to fight off a little bit of that end of vacation depression shit. You know what I mean? Not really. Like, I'm totally cool. But I'm just saying I don't want to go back to work.
Shoulder if you'd like.
You could. I don't know. No, I'll pass. I'm good.
Okay, no. I mean, cool. You know, because I could say, like, you could literally have a few more weeks off. Oh, but I get fired. That's always a bad thing.
I would never press charges on you, sir. Not you.
See, I don't think you would have to, especially with all your friends you got at our job site. They loved it. Since you've been gone, dude, all they could talk about is, so when's Dan coming back? What's Dan been up to?
That has nothing to do with my company.
Yes, it does. I'm telling you, you underestimate yourself, man.
I don't. I just know that they're sick of working my schedule, dude. That's the truth. But it's true. Hey, I'm happy that they miss me, but it is what it is, dude. Right. You know what I mean? You have to be working my schedule all the time. I don't think you'd be, when's Dan coming back? You'd be asking too.
How has your week been, man?
It's been good, man. Honestly, just chilling, trying to relax as much as possible. What am I doing this week? This week is going to be another, just kind of chill as much as I can week, though I'm going to see Panic at the Disco tomorrow night in Oakland, I believe, or San Jose, one of those places. I'm going there. And that's it, man. Watched a shit ton of movies this weekend, but I'm going to save all that for the Heroes of Noise because we'll be recording that one soon.
Awesome. So, look, ladies and gentlemen, it's my fault. Today I have to have a heart out to do some craziness in the life of yours truly. But we do have a few emails that we won't be able to get to today, but we will be able to get to next week. But in order to get your emails on the show, there's only one way to do this. And Dan is like the professional at telling this. I would try, but I'm not very good at it. I've tried and I've stumbled through. One time he even did it from a beach during vacation. I don't know if y'all remember that, but he did do that for me one time. And here he is, the awesome voice of the Danathan himself.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. Hey, what's happening, everybody? This is your old buddy Dan here, and I'm ready to talk some shit today, but I got some business to take care of first. If you want to reach the show, you can hit us up at askthewordpodcast@gmail.com. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about askthewordpodcast@gmail.com. Twitter, we're there, @word_podcast. Let's see, Dan Q Public, that's me. So hit me up at Dan Q Public, and my buddy Steve over there at SE_Hudson Music. Hit up our website, www.heroesofnoise.com. And we got this voicemail thing going on, which we're about to demonstrate for you folks. Make sure you use that. The show's almost over. Let's talk a little bit before we go away for a while. It's going to be a long year. And let's see what else. That's pretty much it, man. Peruse the site. Check out our other show, Heroes of Noise, which will be making a strong comeback as soon as the word is over. The schedules are proving to be a little rough for us right now, trying to get a show going with the kids and everything like that going back to school. But enough of our bullshit. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the magic vocals of Steve Hudson. Steve, back to you, sir.
So if you want to leave a voicemail, the easy way is to go to heroesofnoise.com, and you will probably sound like this amazing voice that we're about to hear from Katie. She leaves us a voicemail, and it sounds a little something like this. Go for it, Dan.
It doesn't sound anything like that, unfortunately. Katie is the email. We are doing one email today. Yeah.
I thought you said we couldn't do any. Okay, let's.
No. We just had to sort of pick and choose what we, because of time. So unfortunately, dude, Christina wrote us a nice long one, and unable to read that one, Christina, this week just because we're so busy. But my apologies, and I hope you didn't get carpal tunnel writing that one. So no, but what we do have today is two voicemails from. I'm coming in really echoey, dude. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second.
Go for it. You are on this side too.
Sorry about that, guys. Had to fix something. So what we do have today, Steve, is we have a voicemail from my man, Johnny Bucks. Yeah. And then we have one from our good friend, Lindsay. Remember Lindsay? We got Lindsay. She sent it. You're going to hear her lovely voice today, too. And then we have an email by Katie.
All right.
I believe it's Kate, actually. Sorry, Kate. All right. So this first one up, my man, is from last week. He actually got it in a little bit late, but I'm going to play it. Is Mr. Bucks. He wrote us, he sent another one in this morning. Unfortunately, it didn't come out. So I told him, don't worry about it. We have this one here that we never played. Johnny Bucks. Here we go.
Hello, chaps. Johnny Bucks here, trying out the voicemail app on your website. Hope it comes out okay. Just calling quickly in response to your last episode of The Word, where you both stated that the Hilter episode was your favourite one of the season so far, and you asked if everybody else felt that way. Well, I'm afraid I don't. I did like it. I thought it was great. I thought it was a really good episode. I think all the episodes of this season have been fantastic. But it felt kind of like a kind of moving the players in the game towards positions for the final showdown, the final kind of conclusion of the season. It was really good, but it felt like, just like kind of progressing everybody along to where they need to be for the final. And I've got to agree with Steve on the UV ray situation, I'm afraid, Dan.
Johnny,
yeah,
breaking my fucking heart.
I think as long as he's not in direct line of fire from the sun, he's okay. So,
you're a wise man.
But hey, if that helps to iron out a little wrinkle that's otherwise kind of getting in the way of you fully enjoying this season, then it's good, right? Anyway, I look forward to hearing your thoughts on the next episode, and I will possibly speak to you then. Okay, take care, guys. Bye.
Johnny Bucks, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Buckaroo. Hey, Johnny, I appreciate that two geniuses are on the same It's no shock, though. Why are we even shocked by this? Two extremely... How would I say that? Because Dan's a genius,
How would you say that, Steve?
Dan's a genius, too. But sometimes geniuses can be flawed. And, Johnny, we had to point out the flaw in Dan's logic. We know vampires. That's what we know. You know, and you know what? Technically, one of us should know Rays a little bit better than the other two of us.
It's not about the Rays, dude. There's no, I mean, there probably is some like vampire handbook somewhere or something like that. But listen, I thought reflective light would be, you know, from a mirror or something like that. It works in other movies where they're changing laser position and shit like that. What are you going to do? But Johnny, I'm not letting it ruin my experience. It's just it's a bit of a bugaboo, if you will.
Yes.
That's
I loved it. I love it. I love being agreed with.
Well, it happens every once in a while.
I think that's
actually, you know what? You had another one too.
Agreed with too much.
You had another one too from, you know what? I'll find it after when we're listening to this next lovely voicemail here. But you had another person agree with you, dude. All right. So up next is the voicemail from Lindsay. She wrote in, I keep saying right. I'm not used to the voicemail thing yet, guys. But Lindsay sent this in, I believe it was last night after Preacher ended. So let's listen to this lovely voice. Here we go.
Greetings, Dan and Steve. It's Lindsay here, a.k.a. Linz Loves Eugene in the good old Twitterverse. Can you believe that we only have 2 episodes left of this season?
No.
I know, I has the sads, but alas, it is what it is. As the saying goes, quality over quantity, right?
True.
So I just wanted to share with you a little insight, or shall I say a little prediction that was something that my husband came up with. So we were sitting there having a conversation about Cassidy's hairy predicament and, you know, what could potentially go down at the end of the season. And we both agreed that, yeah, Icarius pretty much is going down. It's like Cassie's certainly going to kill him. I think we all know that. Yeah. But my husband says, what if Cassidy ends up killing Icarius much in the same way that Icarius has killed Lisa, and he ends up absorbing Icarius's superpowers? And that would that obviously that would lead up to Cassidy becoming, you know, that psycho super vampiric Cassidy that we all know and love. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, this is intriguing. And I said, but wait a minute. In the first season, how does that explain how he managed to kill all those guys on that airplane with no problem. And then he says, yeah, but think about what happened, like later on in that season, in season 1.
Listen to this, Steve.
When Cassidy proves a point to Jesse by nearly killing himself out in the sun. If you think about it, he hasn't been the same since. And I was like, holy shit, you're right. So if you do think about it, right after he pulls that stint, he hasn't really been that, that have that crazy super strength, if you know what I mean. So anyways, I just thought I'd bring that up. And then also, did anybody catch the nice shade throwing that they did at United Airlines with that shifting of luggage in the overhead compartment? Yeah, that shit had me dying. But anyways, so I just wanted to share that with you guys, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts. And much love to you, gentlemen, and everyone in the congregation, especially those that are listening. And I guess I'll hear from you soon. Look forward to hearing you guys. Cheers.
Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you very much.
Lindsay!
What do you think of this way that we have this going here, man? Hey guys, normally when we do the show, it's set up a little bit differently for us normally, and Steve never hears the voicemails, or we have to do it a different way. This weekend, I actually set it up a little bit different, so we're more like a live show now. So it's kind of weird for me, and I'm laughing at Steve because I'm listening to you listen to Lindsay's email, and you're just, It was funny. Really? I just thought it was funny.
That's funny. That was dope. And shout out to your husband, Linz. Tell him that is a great, because look, I didn't think about, here's what I didn't think about. The fact that he hasn't been the same since then. He hasn't.
It's a really good point, huh?
Do you think it might have taken power out of him?
I'm not entirely sure, man, but it got me thinking. You know, because he did have to go to a full, completely, that's what we were talking about last week, right? That's the part, if I'm not mistaken, that's when they had to. Yeah, that's when
he went sort of Cassidy.
Right. So, yeah, maybe he got so far down or so far, what am I trying to say, so weak when that happened that he's still building up his strength. I'm not entirely sure. But now, after this week, he knows some secrets.
Well, here's a big one, though. Here's a big one. We do know that, okay, he was at a certain level of power. Fine. We know that maybe there's a theory that he might have lost some power. But what we also know is that he's never been able to fly or turn into something else. So he's never been at that power. We know that he couldn't never have done those things because he's just like, I didn't even know you could do that. So we know that he's never been at that level before. You know what I'm saying? For sure, I don't think it's even, when she said, I don't think it's deniable he hasn't been the same.
Yeah.
I think that might be what they went for. He might not be still, I mean, because even in this episode, when he gets knocked unconscious, I was like, oh, Cassidy, you weak such and such, G. Like, I didn't know he was that weak sauce. I didn't know.
I was going to go into a thing where I said, like, well, yes, he didn't know how to do these powers, but has he always had the strength? And bringing that into light where he did get knocked unconscious and everything, you're probably right. I don't think that there's, like, it's something that he's building himself back up to. But it's still an awesome theory. I like it.
It's a total, and the thing is, if he does kill Icarius, the only way he's killing Icarius is by A, putting him into the sunlight, pushing him in there, or B, eating all the vampires in that crew and then fighting Icarius.
There's not that many vampires, though, because all the vampires that he's made, he's killed.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, so he would only have to take out Icarius. He's not beating him
hand-to-hand, then. He's not beating him hand-to-hand.
It doesn't look like it, man, because Icarius is whipping his ass. So this version of Icarius is not fucking around.
Antonio Banderas ain't joking.
We got this tweet the other night. I tweeted out something like a while ago, actually, and it was the picture showing Antonio Banderas and Icarius. Yeah. And the actor's name's escaping me, sorry. But someone sent back something yesterday, and it was just like, well, what's wrong with that? It was, what the hell's wrong with that? It was the way that she wrote it. And then she put like the old school heart emoji when it's not really a heart, but it's like the you know what I'm talking about. The three and the... Well, old man Dan was like, I don't know if you're like being sarcastic with me with this old school tag. No, so I'm like, is this aggressive? I'm not entirely sure. But apparently there's nothing wrong with, just if you're listening out there, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. We were just making the observation that it's actually quite the likeness. And we think 100% that they've used that. No, it's somehow been influenced. Let's just say that.
And let me tell you why it's such a cool pull, an interesting, because what it is for us, it seems like something that was like, oh yeah, that's an interesting pull. For a certain age demographic, they've probably never even heard of that movie. And so when you see it, you're like, oh, they took it from this old movie. But for us, it's not that. It seems like oh yeah, I remember that. But for a certain age demographic, it was back in like when they were kids. And so it's a cool pull for them. For us, it's just a thing that happened in our lifetime. Like, no big deal. They're like, oh yeah, he looks like Antonio Banderas. For them, it's like, oh, cool. They pulled that look from this old school movie. It would be the equivalent of him dressing up like remember the original vampire that kind of did that shadow thing back in the day?
Nosferatu.
Yes, we'd be like, oh, wow, that's an interesting pull because it was before our time.
Yeah, it's just drawing inspiration. That's all.
That's it. But I don't think there's a doubt that they did draw inspiration from Antonio Banderas. There is not it's obvious, I think. Quite obvious.
Plain on the nose is my face, it is. Sorry, I was looking for something. You caught me slipping because I was actually looking for another quick tweet from somebody that gave you a little bit of I think it's like a backhanded compliment. So if you don't mind me,
he sounds amazing for a black guy. I'm like, oh, well, thank you.
You're pretty cool for one of them brothers.
Yeah, you're not bad. I think, is that one of those? Hopefully it's not bad.
No, it's not. Oh, gosh, I'm sorry. You know what? Maybe I'm going to have to, not do it today. Here we go. I think I just found it. Nope, I lied. I can't find it, man.
All right, no problem, bro.
Sorry.
All right, rewind.
Oh, hold on.
Oh.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, thank you. So we were looking for an amazing tweet that agreed with me, which is always fun because most of them do because I'm a genius. Or later on, they come back and say, you know what, Steve, I am so sorry that I ever disagreed with you. It turns out you were totally and utterly right. And I'm like, I know. It's not your fault. I mean, mere mortals cannot even fathom what goes on in my head. So
that's how it goes down. Verbatim.
We couldn't find it. Surprisingly, Dan. Oh, I don't know where the one agreeing with you is, but one agree with Dan. He will screenshot it, send it to himself, and have it in the notes. I find this interesting.
I'm sorry, I didn't know I was doing your homework there, buddy.
No, I didn't even see it. There's so many people barraging me with agreeing with me and apologizing for not agreeing with me. I can't screenshot all of them. So when you find one that you're really interested in, I'm like, let me dig through the mail, try to find it. I thought that you had it.
It's driving me crazy, though. Yeah. It really is, because I'm trying to find it, and then we just got blown up last night, and I cannot find it. So I do apologize, folks. So sorry to Seth Tillman. Mr. Tillman, you were the one I was looking for, and I just can't find it. It's driving me crazy.
This is what happens when you don't do the editing. All of a sudden, everyone agrees with you, and they get to read it online. Every mail that agrees with Dan. Boy, all of a sudden it comes out. Oh, I wonder if there's other voicemails. I wonder. One has to wonder.
You'll never know.
I will never know.
I do have something else, though, that's for us, if you'd like me to read it.
Oh, please.
Well, I'd be happy to, sir. This one comes from a longtime listener. She says this in there. Her name's Kate. So I'm going to go ahead and read this one. It says, hey, guys. First-time emailer, long-time listener. I love when they say that shit. After listening to this,
adore it.
Right? After listening to last week's podcast, and thank you for getting it right. Almost everyone called it Hitler, and it was driving me crazy. I felt compelled to defend Dominic Cooper in the portrayal of Jesse. So it says,
"Ooh, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me warm up my hands. All right."
You ready? Hands warm?
Let's go.
All right. I don't want to know what you warmed them up on, but I'm ready to do this.
I'm ready, bro. Let's
do
it.
It says, I totally respect people have their own opinions. As long as you aren't hurting anyone, your opinion is fine by me. However, here's my take on Jesse. As much as I love comic Jesse, I've come to love this one as well. I love that we have a good-looking leading man that isn't always likable. That's so rare. He isn't man candy. It would have been so easy to do comic Jesse right away and simply played off Dominic Cooper's charisma. We all know he has it. Howard Stark, anyone? That's a good point. I keep forgetting that he's Howard Stark, man. But instead, they allowed him to be human, and we aren't always likable. We all have selfish tendencies, and I think that's okay. I think what's important, though, is that he's clearly starting to grow and think about other people. That's a good point. He is starting to think of. He's getting a little more courteous and thoughtful.
You're winning me over, Kate. I don't appreciate this.
I mean, the man was imbued with the voice of God. I'd have a bit of an ego, too. But this season, we're seeing hints of the Jesse we know and love, and I think Dominic is nailing it. I totally agree. I love how stoic he is with Grandma. I love the sense of fun he has around Tulip. I love the high-key jealousy he had for Cassidy while still trying to protect him. Also, his reaction faces are priceless, and his smugness makes me laugh because it never lasts. That's what I was saying last week, too, is that he makes that face like Scott Bakula on Quantum Leap. He does that, oh boy thing.
Boy.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Used to love that show.
The way he carries himself, he feels the weight of the world on his shoulders, and he has this need to protect everyone he loves so intensely that sometimes it comes off as being an asshole. I'm okay with that. That's the story of my life right there, Kate. Now, all that said, I do look forward to seeing a more comically accurate Jesse should the show continue. I feel like we're getting there. Anyway, sorry for that long-ass email. Thanks for loving the show like I do and creating content to express the love for me to enjoy. Thanks, guys. Kate. See, Kate, I butcher everyone's emails. It's great. But this is a good email.
Listen, you are winning me over on the Jesse side. However, I do have a few thoughts regarding his stoicism with Grandma. I think that he's more. Unfortunately, with Grandma, I don't see that stoicism. I see him as more. It's a cowering that has been in him since he was because she's trained it into him. She's trained it into him being sort of cowardly when he's around her.
Yeah, he's fully conditioned. You made a good point about that last week.
He's totally conditioned. Well, as a human should be, which leads me into your other points, though. That lack of that bit of cowardice that he has shows his humanity that actually does make Jesse a more likable character. It shows that he is much more likable. As a matter of fact, this episode made me like Jesse more because they did something to explain who Jesse is very wisely. It was a moment that I was like, oh, you know what? I get this now. But before we get there, that is such a good point that you made. So yes, I agree that Jesse is pretty cool seeing him as a full fleshed out human being. And it's not so much because you couldn't do the comic caricature on TV. It would be ridiculous. Or it would just be like, now everyone has to be a caricature. You can't have just one weird comic guy, then everybody else is normal. No, you can't. You just can't do that. I think that would I like to see more comic Jesse? I don't know now. I don't know. Because before it would have been easy just to slide him in there. Now I don't know. Because they've kind of set him up to be this Jesse. I think the comic Jesse is so far from this Jesse that putting that part in there would be a left turn. Because he's just different.
But I do think that they are starting to work their way towards that. At least this season, it seems that way to me. Maybe it's because we have more story arc, you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's why it seems like he's more comic Jesse. But I do like him a lot better in this season than I have, especially in last season. I did not care for him at all in last season.
I agree. Those are fantastic points, Kate. Thank you so much.
That's it for the email, guys. We had a lot more, and thanks to everyone that wrote in and the voicemails, and I'm sorry, but it was kind of cool that he did this. Fault. It's totally Steve's fault. I'm going to go ahead and just say that, and I'm going to go ahead and stick with that, is that it's Steve's fault. So, Steve, for you, sir.
Oh, nice.
Because that's Steve's theme song, ladies and gentlemen.
Of course. And I'm going to wait for my tweets to be like, it's not Steve's fault, because I got a legion out there protecting your boy.
An army.
We are.
You should start the Steve Army, dude.
Oh, you know what I was thinking? Ooh, this is a thing. Okay. Remember when Kate said man candy?
Yeah.
Why is
it embarrasses me when people say that shit about me, dude. Gee,
shouldn't it be Mandy? Gee, that could be a new word, bro. He's Mandy. You're tripping.
I have sound effects, and I'm happy about it.
You're tripping. That joke is dope.
Sound effects that you can hear anyway. Sorry, man. I'll give you another one here. Hold on. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to be that guy that just, hey, there's a helicopter flying over. Yeah.
Morning zoo. Hello, zip. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'll use no more than I normally do. It's just I'm having fun with it because Steve can actually hear it this time.
I think Mandy's going to be a thing. Kate, we just created a word there. No, we didn't. It's a name, but we created it differently.
I think you came and you gave without taking.
Oh, you're that dude. Please hit that. Hit that. Where's my sound effects box?
Which one you want? Did you like that or did you not like it? I can already tell what it is, and it should be.
There Thank you. I would have actually gone dun 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 dun. That's what I would have done.
That's all, folks.
Dude, that is hilarious. But yes, so thank you all for these wonderful, amazing voicemail and emails. And I promise we'll get to the rest of them next week when I actually show up on time and don't have to leave early. I'm the worst. So I think that brings us to our favorite part of this wonderful episode. Everyone else.
Is it breakdown time?
I think it's everyone else's favorite part because they love to hear your voice, Dan.
Well, right you are, Steve. I know. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, yeah, let's do it, guys. This is the breakdown, season 3, episode 8, called The Tom Brady. I'm going to give you the breakdown of what it's about. Anvil, Angelville, and the Grail team up to steal souls in New Orleans and Osaka in a last-ditch effort to satisfy Grandma and maybe even save the world. That's that's accurate, I think.
Yes, that is accurate. However, I do have here's my issue. Oh, I think people are going to be I think this might be my least favorite episode. And I know people are going to be like, wrong, the best ever. I think this was my least favorite because it's interesting how they took aspects that were working so well and just decided to be like, nah, I'm cool, son. I'm like, but that was really actually working well, though. Why?
Yeah, I tweeted that I saw this one last week, and it wasn't criticism. I'm not, knocking this at all. I'm not saying it's my least favorite. No. I'm not saying it's my most favorite. I am kind of just right in the middle with this one. But there were a few things on here that I did definitely appreciated. And then there's also something I was kind of like, well, okay, but why? So we'll get there as we progress.
There's this, and the thing is, it's unfortunately you guys might be hearing the old Steve from a few seasons ago because they slipped up into some old habits.
They got on some old bullshit for you?
Yeah, on this one, they slipped up into some weird where they're like, you could have had that be like a piece of a show, but they just sat on it forever, man. And I was like, why are we doing this? Like, we could have just not done this and said we did. But I think there was a few scenes where I was like, we don't need that. I would much rather watch either the heist or Cassidy. There's some stuff I'm like, okay, I could have gone without this. This is ridiculous. But anyway, look, this, and mind you, my least favorite episode is still leaps and bounds better than every episode I've seen of Preacher up to this point. This is still a killer episode. They just got on some more. I was like, okay, why are we doing this? But we shall begin, and I'll explain it as we go.
Got on that old bullshit.
I'm gonna be the negative one, unfortunately. But you have Dan. People, you have Dan.
It's okay. You have your opinion. You're fine. So feel free to just speak your mind. What's wrong with you, Hudson? You sounded like you're apologizing or something like that.
Oh no, because the thing is, it's going to be. I don't want to break people's heart. I know that because they can probably have an iPod or an iPhone or a. What are those other ones called? Android phone? I don't even know if they still make Android phone. Do they? Anyway,
who cares?
The only things I know that exist are iPhones because those are real. I'm joking. I know that they have abilities to fast forward people's voices, so you might want to fast forward Steve during this and go right to Dan.
You're fine. You ready to hit it, bro?
Go right to him. Yes, do it, man.
All right, let's do this. Guys, we open up right where we left off last week. It's a cold open, and Jesse and Star are in the elevator, and this is, like I said, straight from the last episode. We hear Star tell Jesse in an echoing, kind of like on last episode, he's telling him, no matter what happens here on out, I'm with you, Messiah. But if you want your soul back, you're going to have to kill him. Who? We'll find out. The camera pans over, and who is it? It's the All-Father. He's been waiting there for Jesse, and he tells him, he hits him with a thrice blessed, O Custer. Or thrice blessed, actually, not thrice blessed. Jesse waits a beat. He's just thinking it out real quick, and then he just disarms Star like a G. He puts I think it's 2 slugs right into this Grail guard that's right in front of him. And then he starts to fight off the other 4 or 5 of them, however many there were. And this fight takes place pretty much in the elevator. Steve, what did you think about this fight, sir?
Okay, look. This one was dope. I loved the fight in the elevator. I especially, you know what my question was? Remember when it opened and the person said,
yeah, I'm going to talk about him.
The next one?
Yeah.
Who was that?
Well, I can tell you what. He worked for Cheese. I think it was like Cheese Weekly or Cheese Monthly magazine. That's what the posters on the wall said. And I think he just got fired. So this dude's already having a bad day. You know what I mean? And then he opens up the door and almost gets capped.
He had a ton of makeup on. So I was like, are they covering like a star we don't know? Because he had a bunch of makeup on, like prosthetic makeup, like making him look a certain way. So I was like, is that a person that we know and they just don't want us to know who he is?
Did he
Or
have makeup
maybe
on?
they just
I don't recall that.
Yeah, it was a lot. And maybe it's just, the HD thing. Well, you have a 4K.
Yeah.
So it looked like caked on. I don't know what was going on with that. I thought it was a person that they were trying, like it looked partially like you know how that it has that plastically look like Allfather?
Yeah, like the latex look.
That's what it looked like.
I'll have to check it out
So,
again.
like,
I didn't
who
really.
was that?
I think I was just more fixated on why he was there and what he was doing. But I'll look at his face. Since you're being so judgmental about his appearance, I'll go ahead and look into that.
I hope it's makeup, and I hope he doesn't write in being like, "Why do you talk about my face?" No, I just maybe they just I don't know, but write in if you agree with me. It looked like they were covering up a star. Like I think it was like Brad Pitt or somebody.
I'm going to have to look at this now, man. I'll get back to you on this one because I'm only messing with you. I know you're just making an observation, but I did notice that. So, yes, we both established that it was a pretty badass fight. It takes him on several floors, and at one point, like Steve said, the door opens up, and there's a gentleman standing there with a Cheese Weekly magazine, Cheese Weekly Monthly. I forgot that part. I left it out. But apparently that's the floor. Posters are all over the wall. There's a book in the box. He works for Cheese Weekly. Jesse stops shooting for just a second, and everyone looks at this guy, and he says, I'll get the next one. Jesse kind of nods at him like, cool. And then the fighting immediately continues again, shooting and everything. Star and Allfather are sitting there waiting patiently while they're listening to the sounds, and they're watching the floor, the elevator drop to each floor. When the elevator eventually opens up, Jesse's standing there like a G, Steve, and he's got all these dead bodies behind him. He looks at the Allfather. Yeah, he looks at the Allfather. He says, who are you? Allfather says, the Allfather. He says, and you know where my soul is? I do indeed. Then where is it? It's in a safe place. Oh, was it? And Jesse nods like, okay, cool. Safe place. This is a bunch of bullshit. Shoots him point blank. Falls backwards onto the floor with a heavy ass thud. And Jesse asks Star where his soul is. And he comes to find out that the Allfather was keeping it up his ass, Steve. Up his
so gross
royal ass. And Jesse asks, that was a safe place? But when you think about it, who's going there?
Let me ask you something.
What's that?
Okay. I'm sorry, people. I know I'm the one that has to leave, and I'm asking these stupid questions. How far do you have to be point blank?
I'm going to I am not a gun person. I have no idea, man. I think point blank is just like when you're standing right in front of them. I'm sure there's a proper term for this, and gun enthusiast, I don't give a shit. I don't need to know this, but I'll Google it and find out. But I'm not entirely sure.
Here's the thing. This should have been the coolest scene for me. Later on, when he shoots him and he dies, or he falls, the first thing I thought is, did this happen because I knew what was coming? Did it happen in the comic?
Him shooting him?
Yes.
No, not to my recollection. In
my brain, I was like, did it? I don't think it happened in the comic, but in my brain, I was like, they better not do the layers of fat protected him from the bullet.
They did.
That's immediately what I thought. I'm like, they better not do this thing that they might be doing. Okay. And I think some people are going to think that's really cool. I thought it would have been cooler if he was just dead. What do you do now? You're like, what? That's it? Now we're on to something else. Oh, I'm already starting, Dan. I'm already starting.
Wow. Someone, and I was texting Steve last night, and I detected a slight bit of edginess to him. So whereas Steve was the calm one last week, the roles have been reversed, so you've got a little bit of spunk to you this afternoon.
It was just, I don't understand why do you want him to come? Why? I think that death was perfect because it's just like, oh, he made an impact. I think he made a solid impact. I think they're probably saving him for a certain other thing that he's going to do later on.
Yeah, he's got to do that.
I know, but boy, I would not have been mad if Jesse was just like, next question. I'd be like, oh, Jesse's back, baby. Jesse is, because that's Jesse from the comics. That dude where you're like, oh, he just shot him and killed him. And he's like, now what's next?
Yeah, he always has a little smart ass line to say right afterwards.
Yeah. It's like, was that the big guy that you were scared of? Because now is a thing where I shot the guy Hair Star is so scared of. I'm the man. And now everyone's thinking like, oh, he's the guy. He just killed him within 3 seconds. But then he gets back up and I'm like, oh, here we go. Anyway, go on. I'm done.
Okay. You sure? You good?
Dude.
You gonna be all right?
Wait, no. First, him getting back up was you were like, cool.
Yeah, I'm not ready to see him go.
Okay, all right, bro.
I'm good with it. I'm a little surprised at you, man. You're a little testy about this right now.
I see you, Jay. Your brother trying to be I got to find someone other than Chris Hardwick. You're trying to be the something other than Chris Hardwick of AMC. I see you.
He's back. He was back last night, actually. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that.
Don't get G.
Yeah, I don't want to get you going right now because if you got to get going, we got a lot to get through.
Yeah, I think there's something in my craw.
There definitely is something in your craw today, sir. Who stuck it there? I'm not entirely sure. But at least it wasn't me.
All right, go ahead.
All right, Mr. Grouchy. So we think he's dead.
And another thing.
We thought he was dead. But as Steve has so effectively proven, he is not, in fact, dead. He raises his hand up. And he says, "Bravo, Mr. Custer. Quite the show." Star pulls the gun on Jesse because he has to play the part. He says, "I have him, Allfather." And then more guards come in, and they're all ready to take Jesse out. But the Allfather says, "Don't kill him. Not yet. He has Genesis." So, see, there's a point. There's a reason they didn't die just yet, Steve. But I'll tell you this. We get our intro.
Yes.
You all right, Grouchy Pants? You okay?
Yes.
All right, buddy.
Yes.
Hang in there. It's going to be a long one. We then get a dream sequence from Grandma. And this dream sequence was important to me for one particular reason, but I'll just go through it. So we don't know it's a dream sequence yet, but we see TC waking her up, tell her that they're back. Jody, Tulip, and Featherstone are back from Osaka. Grandma asks if they got the souls, and TC says, "More souls than you can apparently..." Or no, sorry, what's he say? TC says, "More souls than you can count, apparently." They go into the front room, Steve, and they find Jody and Tulip standing over Featherstone, who's lying there dead. And Jody tells her the security was tougher than expected. Grandma asks what happened to Featherstone, and Tulip tells her that she's dead and that she was shot. That's about, because really that's what was going on. Mm-hmm. In the background, you hear TC get what Jody was talking about. He's like, "Oh, security was tougher than expected." So he had to process that one because, he's TC. Grandma asks for her souls and is told they're outside. She runs out to find her souls are all, in fact, waiting for her, but not the way she was expecting them to. She asks, "What are you doing here?" And then we see it's good old Sabina Boyd standing there again. Remember Sabina, Steve?
Yes.
She tells Grandma, "Waiting for you, and you can't put it off forever." The camera pans out to reveal possibly hundreds of souls standing there. Grandma says she's not going. She's not having it. She tries to turn around and leave, but Tulip is blocking the way, and she tells her, "Everything has a price, bitch." Closes the door, and Grandma's begging to get back in, saying, "I'm not ready to do this." And then she hears, "Grandma." She turns to see Jesse standing behind her and smiling, and she's like, "Jesse, thank God you came back to save me." And Jesse says, "Yeah, I came back." Now this was too much for me. He used exactly what I thought the word should always sound like. He just goes, "Die!" And his eyes fucking turned red, dude. And I loved it. What did you think about that? Did that give you anything, or was the craw so far stuck?
Oh no, I loved it. I loved the fact that this showed that this woman, as this was happening, I kind of clicked in to see what I was like. Okay, I get what's going on here. It showed that there is a fear there. This is her fear. This is in her brain a worst case scenario.
Grandma knows that there's something around the corner just waiting for her.
Totally. But you would never know that when Grandma's awake and about. You're like, oh, she's just not scared of anything. But now you see they put a little glitch in the Matrix to show, oh, she does have a fear, but no one's going to know it except one person.
That's why she acts that way, man. If you knew that impending doom was waiting for you, you'd be a little on edge.
And not only impending doom, there is an aftermath to that doom that I did not know about until as we get further. I was like, oh, snap. This is interesting.
So Grandma wakes up. We now know it's a dream. She wakes up and she starts to cry, kind of tremble a little bit. She looks over at that phone that we saw, and we knew it was going to come back around. And she goes and she picks it up, and who's on the other side? But it's Satan. He says, "What do you want?" Then we cut over, Steve, and now we're in the streets of New Orleans, and there's this Uber driver, and he pulls up to a curb. He's bumping "Trouble in Zion" by Nick Person, if you happen to know that song. He calls out, "Cassidy Mon," and Cassidy, who's dressing more of the part now. Did you notice that he's now wearing vests and a long coat, and
yep.
He's doing the Icarius thing? I thought he looked kind of dope. A lot of people thought that he looked lame, but I thought he looked kind of dope dressed like that. Maybe just because he's always dressed so funky, you know what I mean? But Cassidy says, "Yeah, that's us," and him and Icarius hop in the back seat. So when they're driving in the back seat, Cass is telling Icarius that he's concerned because he's tried to reach Lisa, or Bird Girl 666 as we remember her, multiple times, and she hasn't gotten back to him yet, even though she took off on this trip a while ago. And Icarius reminds him of the time difference, but he screws up though, and he says, well, it's still early in Spain. This catches Cass's attention right away, and he's like, "You sent him to Holland. Carries kind of just laughs it off and says, well, it's probably still early there too. So I interpreted this as Icarius isn't used to drinking and partying the way that Cassidy normally does. So they're sort of like feeding off of each other's habits. You know what I mean? And this is causing Icarius to lose his edge and slip up.
The thing is, Cassidy's antenna went up immediately. He likes Icarius enough to be like, let me just shrug it off. But his antenna did go up. He's like, wait. But you could tell that if Cass likes you, he's going to look over some stuff. He just will.
Yeah.
He'll be like, okay, well, give them the benefit of the doubt. And I think that could be to Cassidy's detriment.
I think that's exactly what he did, because he did make that face like, what? What did you just say?
Yeah,
but then he just says,
totally.
yeah, but then he goes, oh, you're a bad man, aren't you? And kind of laughs it off.
It. Now, I did take a double meaning from that. I think that he was like, you're a bad man, aren't you? And he's thinking like, there's something more to you. Like, you're a bad man.
Yeah, exactly.
But how? He didn't think he was killing people. He just knew, oh, there's something you're not telling me, and it's and it might be not the greatest thing. But I don't even think in Cassidy's mind, this was obviously he didn't think that he was killing the vampire. He's like, of course, this is ridiculous. But you could tell that with Cassidy, if you get on his good side, he's just going to believe you until something tells him differently, or he gets solid proof that it's not true.
And they're also romantically linked right now, so he's probably just giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Totally.
You're a bad man, aren't you, you cute little bastard? So Icarius tells him, yes, I am, thanks to your pernicious influences, because everyone talks that way, Steve. Cass tells him that they're both a couple of hard men and that they're not the brightest of the bunch because they're running around town with the Grail after them. Steve, I just wanted to say that I'm going to go ahead and give you another point in the Hudson camp, because it does confirm, like we said last week, that Cass was aware that was in fact the Grail. Seth Tillman, I do remember what we were talking about. Seth was in the same camp as you. So he was on your side about that. And he says that you got that one right. So that's where it's not the actual tweet. But that's what Seth was talking about, dude.
Oh, so nothing surprising. I'm right. Okay. I thought it was something like surprising.
Right. No,
okay.
No. It's the norm.
Just me being right.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool. Done.
You good? You good with that?
Yeah,
you done smelling your own farts?
I mean, I'm right. Sun's shining. The moon comes out. And, yes, we get it.
Okay.
Next.
Get one more whiff in and I'll continue. There it is. All right, here we go. So Icarius tells him not to trip on it. He's like, I'll annihilate them, he says, and I'll be with you. Cass says, well, I hope so, because you never know when these guys are going to turn up. Which is funny, Steve, because who's driving the car? We actually find out that the dude that has the dreads on, Mr. Rastaman, as they're trying to make him out to be, was actually Hoover, who dropped him off over at Mima's house. They walk in.
And who's also getting in his bag now. Let me go ahead and preface this, everybody. Hoover's getting in his bag. He found Hoover. He's finally found who Hoover is. They're letting Hoover be Hoover in this episode. Okay.
And I would guess you're foreshadowing.
I'm just saying that I'm loving this Hoover.
Okay. There's a couple of things that it could have been, but now I know what you're talking about.
Oh, man. Okay.
So Hoover pulls out, Steve, what looks to be a vampire slaying kit of some sort.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Only he would do it.
Where do you get that? I need one of these.
No.
They just sell them at the local Osh, I guess.
Oh, it's so funny. I could imagine Hoover going somewhere and be like, hey, I need a vampire killing kit. And they're like, let's just give this person a wooden stake and this day and have him pay for it. Here you go. Here's a vampire killing kit.
I got some garlic in the back. Hold on.
Thank you. Exactly. He was like, thank you. I appreciate it. And they're like, what's up with dude?
What I saw in there was a garlic necklace, because he puts that one on. I believe he had holy water. And then I did see, of course, the wooden stake. And then he's got that sun lamp that's attached to the car battery. So he was ready for battle. He puts the garlic around his neck and he looks at himself in the rearview mirror and he says, I believe in you. And when he changes the angle of the mirror, though, he finds out that the Les Enfants du Sang have pretty much surrounded like the front of his car. So he's not getting away. Icarius approaches the driver's side and says, as do we all. And then Cassidy goes over on the other side for good effect and tells him, yeah, we all really believe in you. And he disconnects the battery. We move. Go ahead. You got something?
No, it's okay. This scene is comic book Hoover. If Hoover was left alone, this is him. That's all.
For now.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll move along. I really want to get to this part for you. I don't want you to have to leave. Get these people just stuck listening to my rambling the entire time while you leave. Back at Grandma's, the doorbell rings and TC goes to answer it, but he stops. He knows something's up. You can just tell he knows something's up. He knows exactly what's on the other side of that door. Grandma's waiting in the parlor and TC enters. Oh, by the way, the doorbell is just like ringing nonstop. And TC enters with pretty much a loss for word, and he's trying to let Grandma know, much like I am right now. He's trying to let Grandma know that someone has arrived. And he's like, here's and Satan pops out, Johnny! And Grandma greets him with your hideousness, and Satan tells TC to take off and hump a duck or whatever he's into those days. So,
oh, dude. Okay, this is my favorite scene of the episode by far. And it's just him. No. There's two scenes. Both of them are Satan.
Satan's the man.
Both of them are him.
I can't believe I just said that. But Satan's the man on this.
If they okay, it's over. Dan, I'm about to say something over the top.
Do it.
If hypothetically in a weird world they finally ended Preacher, right?
Right.
And we're all crying, and they said, and they gave a sneak preview to the new Satan show. Guess who would be watching it?
Oh, we'd be podcasting about it.
Gee, he can have this. Okay, they accidentally slipped up on a character that is so good that in 3 minutes, he takes over the show. He is that good of a character. I don't know who told him to play him this way, because someone could have played him dark.
Right.
They could have played him totally dark.
Fire and brimstone. And
totally.
Yeah. No, I like this because this just makes him like a normal person. Cocky. He's a powerful guy that knows exactly what he can do to you, and he kind of likes that. He's Satan.
Totally. He is so, and even little flourishes they put in. When he picks up the chair, flips it around, and sits on it backwards. That's something this character would do because this actor has fleshed out this character. He knows him now. And I don't know how he got to know him. So I don't know. But he is in his groove right now with Satan. He knows how he acts now. Dude, come on, man. We need a Satan, at least a webisode. That's it. Give us a freaking webisode.
I have been pushing for these things. We'll see what happens.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Because, our voice, it speaks volumes, as you can tell.
Dude, I mean,
hey, it works. It worked for the Misfits geniusly. One webisode. Give us a 20-minute webisode. That's all we're asking.
And then a show.
Satan goes to Vegas. Something.
Yeah, and then give us a weekly show.
Yeah, there you go.
That's all we're asking.
So, like I said, Satan tells TC to bounce, and he starts talking to Grandma. He tells her he was surprised to get her call, and Grandma tells him that, she called because of... Well, tell you what, I've got it all right here for you in our first audio clip. So I'm going to go ahead and play this one for you. Guys, it is a little bit long, but I don't have many audio clips this week. So we'll hear this scene. We'll get back to it. Here we go. Steve, try to calm down.
I'm trying to chill.
I was surprised to get your call.
Well, I have a problem, and I thought of you.
Love women and their problems. Hit me.
There's this girl, and she tried to kill me.
All sarcastic.
Oh, that's terrible. Really? Sorry.
No, I mean, this girl is a royal bitch, and I want you to take her down. I want you to feast on her.
That sounds like fun. I could do that. What about you, Marie? When are you coming down to join us in hell? From the looks of things, pretty soon, huh?
Maybe. Maybe not.
I gave you the power. You eat souls. You stay young. You stay alive. But the day you die, you're mine. That's the deal.
And it has been such a gift. But we are making a new deal.
Are we now? Have you been having bad dreams again? All right. I'm listening. But in this new deal, I get what?
You know my grandson?
You know I do. I've always had an eye out for Jesse.
He is a spoiled, selfish, vengeful little boy.
And
He has something I think you might really want.
All right. A couple things about this one. So Satan mentions to Grandma that you've been having your nightmares again. So this is something that's probably plagued her for quite a while now.
Yes.
I know I say the same things every time, but it seems like they're leading up for something. You know what I mean? We are coming to the finale. Do you think that has something to do with it? You think she's just afraid? Like, do you think Jesse's red eyes mean anything to her? What is she afraid of exactly? Just going and paying the price of going to hell? You think that's all it is? And she's just expressed this to Satan in the first place?
I think what happened is she's getting somehow supernaturally clued in on what's to come. She knows that I have a feeling that this is going to be her hell. Like Satan knows this is going to be what you deal with now. When you're mine, you're going to be dealing with people that all the souls you've eaten coming back for you. I mean, it's just a consequence of an action. And he also made a point of saying, you eat souls, you stay young. You're not so young anymore. Looks like you're on your way to me.
Yeah.
Because Satan knew making the deal, there's only so many she's going to get. And soon, she's going to be his. Because I bet you at one point she had nothing but souls. Back in the day, she was probably like, no problem. But now she's running out. And he's looking like, oh, well, look at you.
Yeah, not looking so good anymore.
Not looking so good anymore. You're on my way. And he can't wait to get her. Because with her, how many souls does he get? With one person.
You think she's just containing all? I guess she doesn't really, not to be crude, but she doesn't poop them out. You know what I mean? I guess they're just there.
Now, what might happen is she goes to hell and all the people that were actually legitimately like quote unquote good.
Yeah.
Maybe they get released into the to heaven or whatever. But with no God there, I don't know what happens. There's no God. Now, I just love how they kind of made it. She's now human. There is a thing she's scared of. And the thing she's scared of is both her dreams and Jesse becoming, pretty much, all powerful. But also she's super scared of Satan. She doesn't show it, but she knows that if he wanted to renege on the deal, he could in a second. And just be like, you know what? Nah. Skip this. You're coming with me. But somehow it seems like deals and agreements mean something to him. Making an agreement, we have now solidified that it means something to Satan. I don't know why. I don't know why he's a man of his word. I don't know. But it means something to this person. So they're making a new deal. And apparently Satan's going to uphold his side of it. Now, later on, we see that Satan has his own glitches too. Like obviously he's not perfect. Like, he's not able to see all and be everywhere at once like God is.
Right.
But, he can get his fingers around certain things at least. But I love how they make it so that these people are kind of, without God, these people are kind of running in circles. They don't really have things together as much as I would think. God was kind of the one who...
Yeah, he's reduced, or he's keeping it from going chaotic.
Yeah, totally. Because later on, we'll see that they went for one person, got another. That is a simple issue that if it happens on a mass scale, everything goes crazy. It's like God was the one keeping everything in check, and now he's gone.
Essentially, it's a breach.
Yes.
Protocol and procedure.
Totally, because I'm sure that, Death couldn't just go do something without getting God's okay, where he's like, yes, and let me tell you exactly where that person is. I am totally spitballing here, but there were checks and balances because this didn't really happen before God left. This wasn't a thing. No one's really knowing, well, can we just do anything right now? Yeah, you can. You can just do anything. So, who's to say that Humperdoo would even be a thing with God still on the throne? Like, he could have just been like, nah. But anyway, let's move forward.
Yeah, I know. I got so much to talk about, even though this is really non-comic stuff, but we'll push it along. I'll skip my other question. But I will say that I am curious as to why Jesse's on Satan's radar already. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's just maybe, was he promised by Grandma? Something to that effect? We'll see. I guess it'll answer its own question as it goes on, because I know they didn't bring that up for no reason.
Well, I think he triggered it up. Remember, he said he's been on my radar for some time.
Exactly.
I think he needs you can't just kill Jesse because Genesis is there. And for some reason, we have to assume that God has him protected. Because otherwise Satan would just kill him. Or maybe there's a list of you can't kill someone before their time, but regardless, we know for a fact that Jesse is protected somehow because he said, yes, he's been on my radar for some time.
And he hasn't exactly been the best person in the world either, so maybe he's just done enough that would allow him the ticket to hell, you know?
Yes, and my thing is, if he really wanted him, he could have just killed it. Because, I mean, if Saint of Killers can find him, Satan could find him. But he's just like, yeah, he's been on my radar for some time now. But he's not tripping on him. He's more tripping on Grandma, it seems. He can't wait to get her. That's his, one day you're coming, and I can't wait.
She's a pain in the ass to him, like, probably.
Yes, and that's what I think. And again, that again says that he actually is oddly enough serious about the deals he makes. It's so strange. I don't know why you just don't break them.
I'm going to move us along, Steve. We're going to go to Osaka now. We know we're in Osaka because we have the big flash that we get, the typical Preacher flash across the screen. Yes. I'm going to try to speed this up a little bit, guys. So pardon me if I'm going a little bit faster than I normally do. We see Jody and Tulip, and they're waiting for Featherstone in their van as Featherstone gets in and hands them both their fake IDs because they are going to be HR representatives this time around. Jody says, let's do it. And they write before they exit, though. Tulip tells them to wait a second, pulls out a stick of gum. Featherstone's giving her shit about that, but she says, yeah, my character chews gum. Yours has an ugly nose. So yeah, let's seriously rob this bitch. We get a cool sequence of them walking into the bank. Gives us that slow-mo walking, and, the screen breaks into thirds, and we see how the team's faces, their game faces, and it kind of does like a little bit of a 70s thing. It reminded me of like Charlie's Angels or something like that. We go to commercial. Now, when we get back from commercial, getting back to one of your favorite parts, we get to the bullet that is being pulled out of the Allfather, and it tinks into a nearby bowl, and the Allfather says, merely a flesh wound, and digs into this bowl of noodles. It's pretty nasty. Jesse says, yeah, I imagine it would be, and gets a slap by Stark, because you don't do that to the Allfather. And he says, I told you he can be churlish. Never heard anyone in my life say the word churlish. I'm just putting it out there. Allfather says, understand, Mr. Custer, playtime is over. We're taking Genesis. And Jesse tells him that people have tried before and that it usually doesn't end well for them. But the Allfather tells him that's because they have never had the resources that the Grail has. Jesse tells him that he has faith, though, and that it's stronger than guns and resources, and he gives him this whole thing about its impossibly penetrable belief that he has, and that he's been chosen, rather, to be the keeper of Genesis. Genesis belongs to him. And the Allfather asks him how he can be so sure. Jesse tells him that he's been tried, lost kin, at the hand of kin, buried alive and left for dead, and still Genesis resides in him. He says if it's not for some divine purpose, then what would it really be? So the Allfather tells him, well, you may be a preacher, but you're also a fool. And then he has this device wheeled in that looks like an inversion table. He called it a gurney, but it looked like an inversion table that's all modified. It's got this little suction thing belt on it in the front. We're going to find out what that's for very soon. So as they strap him in, and the Allfather says, are you comfortable? I should hope not. And then he purges those nasty noodles into this vase because he's gross that way. Am I going too fast, man?
Okay, dude, I'm about to say something fairly mean.
I know, I'm sorry. I know I'm reading faster than I normally do.
And I don't want to offend anybody. I could have done without any of these scenes. This is the scene I was talking about.
Oh,
I
really?
think this was so boring. After the first explosion of Humperdew, and then they're like, oh, we could keep on doing this. They went over and over again, G.
So I guess you loved my intro this week, huh?
We get it. No. I like that. That's totally fine. But I was like, what are we doing? I mean, truthfully, it was almost like, okay, this is a place setter. We could just do this to move time along.
Well, I think that's exactly what this episode is, dude. I think that this was I don't mean it in like a disrespectful term, but I do believe that this was a filler episode. This was something to move us, as Johnny Bucks put it, it moves you from one place to the other, driving you to the next point that they're trying to make. And I think that this was, even though there are some plots in here that are significant because they are dealing with Genesis and them trying to take him from Jesse, I think that this, would I say this is my least favorite one? Is that what you said?
Yes, I did. This is my least favorite episode of the season.
Yeah, I think it is mine too.
Because the thing is, I don't mind. This, for me, it wasn't all a place setter. Because they pushed a lot of things with Icarius and Cassidy along. They moved that forward. They moved things with Tulip and Featherstone and Jody along. They pushed that. They pushed Grandma and Satan along. And then they just said, let's halt on this whole Jesse thing. And they just sat there doing the same thing for a whole episode. Why do we need this scene? The only scene that made sense for me is the exposition scene where the doctor comes in, tells, which is, we'll get to that. That was the only scene we should have had. Then they're like, oh, that's what they're looking for. Cool. A scene of him exploding, a scene of them working in the exposition from the doctor, the end. All the exploding Humperdews were pointless.
Okay, you feel strongly about this. That's all right. Honestly, It totally is. I'm just, I'm surprised that it got you that deep. You know what I mean?
Yes, it was super boring.
Okay, all right. So while all that's going on in the background, all that shit that Steve's talking about, there's a conversation going on between Jesse and Star. And Star tells him that this time you need to shoot him in the head. And he placed a gun inside of his pocket. But Jesse points out, dude, I'm strapped in, so it's not going to make a difference. How am I going to get the gun? Star says that he wishes he could do more, but he can't. The Allfather interrupts Star and asks if they're ready to go. Star says yes, confirmed so. The Allfather then tells Jesse that for some strange reason, the word of God attached itself to him, but not to worry about it, because they're going to coax it out. And Jesse tries to get smart with him and says, oh, don't tell me, you're going to sing me a lullaby? Allfather says, nah, son. See, I didn't mind this as much as you did, but he says they're going to leave that to the angels, and Star tells him that the Grail prefer high-voltage jolts of electricity and attaches a bolt of, I think it was like a bolt, some kind of conductor bolt, I guess, to his neck, and because I don't understand the electricity, guys, yes. I'm sorry. Took a quick class on it, but my teacher...
This is a lie.
What's that?
You know everything about electricity.
Oh, I was going to say, no, not really. It's not a lie.
Dan's an electrician.
I'm not an electrician. Last year, I was a doctor. Remember that. No,
you're but this is the truth.
I had to take an electricity class for my major, and the guy that did it, his name was, he's probably dead, but I won't say his name. Anyway, all he did was go outside and smoke. So he sat outside and, here, read your book, and he'd smoke the entire time, and that's probably why he's dead now, but I'm going to go ahead and move along. I don't understand electricity. Yeah, it's true. So Jesse tells him to go ahead and do what he's going to do, and that he just can't wait to see the inside sprayed against walls, because, he's been through this before. He knows what happens. He thought that the Allfather was the one that wanted that. So Allfather realizes that this is what Jesse's talking about and tells him that it's not for him, and he quickly raises this wall, and it reveals this hidden one-way mirror. And the wall also has that other end of the suction thing on it. He gets some help sitting up, and he goes over to him, and Star attaches the hose that connects Jesse to the wall. And the Allfather tells Jesse that the Genesis isn't for him, and that even though he is certainly more deserving than it than Jesse, there's one person that this power is meant for. A door on the other side of the window opens up, and in walks my man Humperdew, and he's sporting this dope-ass Grail-colored tracksuit that I would wear. I'm just telling you, I would wear it. I would. Humperdew sees himself in the mirror and waves at himself before he realizes he's waving to himself in a mirror.
Yes.
And then Jesse goes, Humperdew, and Allfather gets pissed about this and asks where he heard such a horrid name. Star slaps Jesse again across the face and corrects him by saying, the Christ child, the Lord's most sweet and holy lamb. And then the Allfather...
I thought his name was legit Humperdew, but it's funny. I like the twist they did on that. I was like, oh, that's funny, because he's like, that's not his name.
In the comic, he's just walking around saying that's Humperdew or Humperdew,
yeah.
So yep. I don't know if that really was his name, but for the purposes of this, they're calling him the Christ child, which is a long name. On the birth certificate, I can only imagine. That's a lot of font.
It's a lot of font, dude.
So Jesse tells him that before they begin, they're making a huge mistake. But before he can get the rest of his words out, he's interrupted by an electric jolt from Star. And this causes Genesis to immediately leave Jesse's body and travel through that tube, and it smacks into Humperdew, knocking him against the wall. He stands up, and he immediately explodes. We all knew that was coming. Genesis goes back inside Jesse, and he's like, told you. The Allfather then orders them to bring in the next one. So in this version of Preacher, they have multiple clones of Humperdew, and they can use them at any point in time. But that's just one of the many differences from the comic. Well, we'll get into that later on a different show, just because we're rushed for time. But quite a few differences.
Yeah, like right there. Oh, I now knew. I now know what happens when Genesis goes into Humperdew. I am clear now. Would you feel like, would you say that you now know?
Well, they're the Grail, man. They've got this whole Tom Brady thing they're working on.
But you do understand what happens when Genesis goes into Humperdew.
Yes, I can ascertain that when it goes in, people explode.
Exactly. We have to now assume that happens. I don't need a series of these things to happen. Just tell me you have more Humperdews, and I will totally understand the rest.
You're crazy, dude.
Oh, but they said no. They're like, no, you don't get it. You have to see these people explode. Otherwise, y'all won't get that they're exploding over and over again.
Okay, buddy. I'm sorry that they hurt you.
They hurt me, dude. Because all this time we could be spending on such interesting stuff happening on the other side.
I'm trying to get there.
Goodness gracious, dude.
So the grill workers come in and they're spraying off the multiple humperdoos. And the Allfather tells Jesse, behold, Mr. Custer, religion's secret weapon, science. Now I'm going to take us back to Osaka right now. And this is where we see that the trio are acting as HR. This is one of my favorite parts, actually. The trio are acting as HR reps, and they're giving this in-service to the bank employees about sexual harassment. Featherstone is the presenter, and she has Tulip and Jody doing a little bit of role-playing. And I found this really funny, so I do have an audio clip for you. Here we go.
Hey, Janie.
Hey, Steve. You here for the inventory report?
In a minute. How was your weekend?
In a minute.
Do anything sexy?
Not really. I walked my dog. Then I took a shower.
Were you nude?
Well, yeah. I didn't want to get my clothes wet.
Want to get them wet right now?
And freeze! You upper management pervs need to get your stuff together. This entire branch has become a cesspool of unwanted advances. There have been 29 sexual harassment complaints in the lobby alone.
She says that's unacceptable.
Which is why Grail HQ sent us here, to implement a new zero-tolerance policy. Let's try this again, only now let's have a volunteer.
See, now Tulip's all...
Director Matsukata.
Tulip's in the confident role now, bro. You'll notice.
Great! Great! And this time, let's reverse the situation. Janie will be the assailant, and Director Matsukata, her hapless victim.
Hey. Sent you nude pics last night. Why didn't you text me back?
Because I am married.
Give me the inventory report, limp dick. Good report. Really well typed. Nice job. I am this close. Or okay. This close to making you vice president.
I love my wife. Oh.
And freeze. Of course, the true test is when an attractive woman hits on you.
That's cold-blooded, man. Featherstone's digging into her all the time now.
She is doing the most. She is doing the most.
Yeah, I actually chose for quality over quantity when it came to the audio clips this week. I just found that one to be really funny. That tickled my fancy. I loved listening to Jody act out. And he's like, right now? Like, he had there was nothing that the man was doing that was professional whatsoever. It was hilarious.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is a rant because you've talked to her before. Would you say that's more her real voice or Featherstone?
She's definitely got an affect on it. It's like that without all the higher pitch stuff. That's definitely something that she puts on.
So
and she even mentioned that too.
So you think Featherstone is less her voice than this voice she used? Like that's more her voice than Featherstone is?
I think they're both not good. They're not a good representation. Like she's putting an affect on both of her voices. But if I had to say one sounds more like the other, I would just say a nicer version of Featherstone. But her voice seems a little bit like Featherstone's voice seems a little more deeper. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like she's just putting a little something tough on behind it. I don't know. It's just the way that you make
was that your deep voice, Dan?
No, I didn't want to make her sound like Barry White or something, which I couldn't do anyway.
Look at that. See, now you can do Barry White. Okay, cool.
I cannot do the Barry White.
That's what you said. But anyway, we can move on.
Well, let's do that. I want to get me away from the talking like Barry White. So she dismisses everyone. And tells them that they can go to lunch. They're going to get back together later. And once everyone is dismissed, Tulip shows Featherstone that she's got the director's ID pass that she grabbed when she was grabbing that dude's ass. She tells Featherstone that there are easier ways of doing that. And Featherstone says that she knows, but she just wanted to make Tulip grab that guy's ass. So she's playing her several times during this whole presentation. But now we're going to go to hell. And while we're in hell, the angel of death is standing with her head down and waiting for Satan, I guess. And Satan comes in and she stands to attention. Satan tells her that he has a job for her to do. and that he wants her to go get Tulip O'Hare and bring her back to him. The Angel of Death gets right on it and leaves. Well, actually, what she does is she says, what's a Tulip O'Hare? And he tells her, no, it's a who. Go get her. Now, we're treated to something that I thought Steve was going to enjoy, but apparently he does not like at all. And that is quite all right, my friend. I'm just bringing it up. It's the montage with the many trials and errors of Humperdoo, where the waltz of the beautiful blue Danube's playing.
Yes.
And he's exploding all over the place. You loved it. Mm-hmm. Genesis.
Oh yeah, totally. But you know what? Going back to the previous scene, I love how they let you hear his hoof sounds coming to the door.
Yeah,
like
I noticed that too.
Like, here we go. Like, she is. I don't know, man. She doesn't like him because she like looks up like, here we go. What is it today?
It's like when your supervisor has on them fancy dress shoes and walking down the hall. Sounds like high heels.
Here we go. But yeah, but you know what? If you like this scene, dude, you could talk about it.
No, I'm good. It's fine. It is what it is. We just have gone over. It's different than the comic. They have multiple clones, and they're doing a trial and error thing, and we'll get to what they're doing here in just a hot minute.
Yes.
So Genesis once again returns to Jesse, and Jesse tells him, I took science in high school, and I don't remember many flying intestines. The Allfather tells him that it's going to work as soon as Dr. Slotnick, I believe it was Slotnick, perfects the cocktail. Jesse asks who that is. Is that his, his bartender or something like that? And Allfather tells him that Dr. Slotnick is the one who's creating this genetic cocktail and offers a detailed explanation of theorems and modalities to Jesse, which he declines. And he gets a slap for it. Lots of slaps this episode. The Allfather goes ahead and has Dr. Slotnick come in anyway, and she's played by Karen Strassman. She's only making a guest appearance here. You watch Silicon Valley, Steve. Do you know Karen Strassman from that show?
Yes, I do.
Okay, she's also from Weeds and a few other things, too. Just wanted to give her some credit.
I loved the Doctor.
Yeah, she was
Oddly enough. Because she really, in 3 minutes, 2 minutes maybe, explained... you know what? I'll let you go ahead and say it because I know that you have it.
Yeah, I won't. I'll just let her say it actually. So This is an audio clip of Dr. Slotnick explaining what she's trying to do, her mission, the cocktail. Here we go.
Bring in the doctor.
Genesis, the offspring of an angel and a demon. An entity comprised of good and bad parts in varying degrees. It follows, then, that Genesis would require that a successful host, such as you, be composed of the same specific proportions of goodness and badness. But how does one recreate those proportions? The answer is a DNA cocktail. This represents a genetic combination of two persons. In this case, Serena Williams and Louis XVI. The idea being that when their DNA are mixed, it will replicate the same formula of good and bad that exist in you. No, it's trial and error. And obviously, this one was a piece of shit and did not work. But we are zeroing in. And soon...
You're gonna run out of Humperdoos.
Oh, no. I don't think so.
Thank you, Doctor. Shall we continue?
So, there you have it.
This is a big deal here, in my opinion. What she just said is a huge deal for the history of the show. There's a lot of times I was sitting there and being like, okay, he's a douche. Okay, now he's being cool. And she pretty much cleared it up. It was almost like they wrote it right to this point because she said, look, he is the exact 50-50 combination of good and evil. That's the only reason Genesis survives in Jesse is because they found a host. It found a host that is exactly 50-50, the perfect combination of good and evil. And we have seen this throughout his whole situation. He has done evil stuff that you're like, why would you do that? That's mean. And then stuff to be like, okay, I really do actually love Cassidy. We have literally seen him do, and the thing is, it's almost as if Tulip and Cassidy were in on this meeting, that would have been great. Because then they could have been like, oh, wait, Tulip, not so much. Tulip understands Jesse. But everyone else, Cassidy would have been able to listen to this and be like, oh, now I get Jesse. He would finally understand what's wrong with this man. But I think we all know now what's wrong with Jesse. Jesse, normally, you know, you have more of one, more of the other. He's a weird dichotomy of evenly both. And so we don't know how we can't really see what that means. We just see his actions, and you never know which one's going to come out. Is he going to be mean Jesse, evil Jesse, or is he going to be good? You just don't know. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was really, I loved, this was an essential scene, and I think this should have taken the place of all the, you know, the numerous exploding Humperdews. I think this was a really important thing.
Where are they getting that Serena Williams gene from, man? Is she just a part of this now? I know I'm just being, yeah, like I love their references sometimes to people that they pull. So yeah.
On a side note, I think I really like the interaction between Featherstone and Tulip. I am loving it. I like them together. They are great together.
They really are. I just want to see them come to where, and maybe we'll get it next week. I want to see them like come together to get something accomplished. Yes, they did that, but they did it under protest. You know what I mean?
I would like that to happen. But again, the show does something and I'm just like, anyway.
Yeah. So you're not going to do that?
Both of those, I just don't get it.
Do you want to get out your gripe before you go?
Nope. I'm not going to do it because we need to end on a happy note.
All right, fair enough.
But people know we wanted to see Tulip and them together. That happens. Hoover gets in his bag, something else happens. It's like unfortunately, and obviously they are trying their best. They might do something next week that's crazy, but they have 2 more episodes. So I'm like, well, what can they really do? But regardless, this scene with the doctor was so important. I mean, even I was like, oh, snap. So that was good.
So the Allfather and Slotnick or whatever her name is go to have this little side conversation about what's next. And this is when Jesse tries to get Star to take the gun from his pocket and shoot Star. But Star buckles like a belt because he tells Jesse that he dislikes violence in the workplace. But really what it is that Jesse calls him out and tells him that he's afraid of the Allfather. And Star basically admits it. He's like, you don't understand. Even though he looks like someone from Ripley's Believe It or Not, he's the head of the most powerful organization in the world. He acknowledges that something has to be done. But what?
Yeah. Well, you know what's very interesting is the Allfather is Hair Star's grandma to Jesse.
Right. There's that point where you just can't, there's nothing you can really do to get yourself out of the situation.
You are just conditioned to be that. And I was like, they both have a person. So I think Jesse's going to kill Allfather and Hair Star is going to kill grandma for Jesse. Because they have to, because Hair Star has no connection to grandma. He doesn't give a crap about her. Just like Jesse be like, I will shoot him in the head right now if I get a chance. So I think that's what they're pushing toward, where they can off each other's issue.
Do you think this is going to be the end of the Allfather this season?
Totally.
I think so too. I think they absolutely should do that.
Should have been today.
So Star's phone goes off, and he excuses himself by telling the Allfather that he's coordinating the next meal with the caterer. So when he steps outside, he finds out that Hoover's texting him, and he's texting him pictures of himself strapped to a chair with various signs. Looks like the NXS video or like Bob Dylan where he's dropping the signs down. But he says, "Help me. I've been taken. Leave Cassidy alone, or they'll kill me. I'm frightened." Those are the 4 pictures or 5 pictures that he sends him. And we see on the other end of the conversation where they're watching it from the Les Enfants Toussaint that Hoover's asking Star what's going on. And Cassidy tells him, he says, it says kill him. Hoover assumes that this must be an autocorrect and tells Cass to, try one more time. He does. And the conversation is as follows. It says, Cassidy says, not bluffing. We'll do it. Star tells him, that's fine. Go ahead. I'll get to you sooner or later. Cassidy says, seriously? And Star says, seriously. He's an idiot. Kill him. I just thought it was really funny because I noticed, I don't know if this is just me noticing this, but Cassidy's going with caps, all caps on the side screen because he's trying to be threatening. But Star's just like, nah, it's cool. You can kill him. He's all lowercase.
I noticed 2 things. One, what does Hoover think it was an autocorrect from?
I think he was just in denial that he didn't want to die. Yeah, that Star would kill him.
And I love how everything that was on that text was something, it's almost like they talked to Cassidy and see how he would have this conversation, then put it in text. Like the seriously is exactly what Cassidy would say. Seriously?
Right. Yeah.
Like that is Cassidy's response to that. But what I didn't see coming was next. Now we see a darker side of Cassidy.
We see
a much darker side of Cassidy.
We see a lot of difference coming up next year. A lot.
I mean, actually. What? I thought, because Cassidy normally be like, oh, come on, just let's let him go. But I forget, oh, wait a minute. Cassidy's sort of evil.
Well, he's already taken to Les Evans Toussaint. I don't imagine that he thinks he's going back to hang out with Jesse and Tulip anymore. So he's trying to embrace this powerful vampire thing, and it's not working for him. And I think that's exactly why he's deciding to do these turns, so that he can get the power. That's in his head. He thinks that if he does this, he's going to get the power. And he says something about
that. You're right. You're totally right.
So Cassidy tells Hoover that it was an autocorrect, and Hoover's like, shit. And then we go to the other side where the Les Evans Toussaint are hanging out. And they're having this mini meeting on how they're going to kill off Hoover.
A great shot, by the way. A great Quentin Tarantino from the bottom, they're all huddled around shot. I'm not saying Quentin Tarantino invented that shot. It's just something that I imagine from his movies, where it's just like they're huddled around and been like, all right, what are we going to do? I love the fact that the camera guy was underneath there shooting up. It was just a great shot.
Cass gives them options of how they're going to do this, in which he suggests stabbing or maybe even a blunt instrument. But Kevin comes up and he's like, well, what about putting a cage around his head and releasing bees like on Wicker Man? And Hoover's still strapped to the chair, votes for the stabbing. He's not having that. Cassidy tells him, well, Wicker Man's a great film, but thinks, the idea is absurd. He's asking Kevin, he's like, what are you ever going to get what do you say? He goes, hold on.
What are you, a beekeeper? Where are you going to get all those bees from?
Yeah, he says, where are you going to get all those bees from? You're a bleeding beekeeper now? And Kevin responds that he actually is a beekeeper. So Cassidy's like, oh, all right, my apologies. It's a brilliant idea.
Yes, totally.
We're going with the bees.
He was legit sorry. He's like, I'm sorry, man. But I was like, he thought, and that's what I'm saying. This weird dichotomy in Cassidy, where it's just like, I didn't mean to down talk beekeepers, number one. I'm sorry. But he'll also be like, so we're going to kill him with bees. Good. I was like, okay, so you're nice in general. But he's like, okay, we're going to put a helmet of bees on this guy and have them eat him to death?
Sounds good. Everyone on board? Let's do it.
And break. And it's so funny because they huddle. Here's the genius part of this, which I would have liked to see more of, but we had to do other stuff. Here's the genius part about this scene. When they huddle together, normally when you huddle, the huddle is to make sure that the person outside of that huddle cannot hear what you're doing. They don't take that into consideration at all. That
they're like, just talking about him like he's not even there.
My thing was like, why did you even huddle? That was so funny. Be like, yeah, the huddle was pointless. They just did it. They just did. And I thought,
very Cassidy.
This is what I tune into Preacher for. It's stuff like this, but it sucks because you see. I mean. Oh, I could have seen 10 more minutes of this scene. I could have watched 10 more minutes of this scene. It was so freaking entertaining.
But this is kind of like right where it starts to get dark, though. This is
dark.
Yeah, this is where it takes a little bit of a turn. So it's doing it with the help of some comedy, but it does in fact go to a different place. Because Cassidy starts telling everyone what they're going to do next, how they're going to kill Hoover, and he's interrupted by Icarius, who walks in. And he's like, why are you guys thinking of killing Hoover in the first place? Cassidy tells him that's because, the Grail tried to kill everyone that he loved or he liked, he said, and that, he hurt him, he hurt Cassidy. So of course he wants to kill him.
Of course.
But Icarius tells him he's merely suggesting that there's a better way to handle it, a better way of feeding their cause. In other words, he suggests turning Hoover. And Cass is appalled by this. And Icarius says that Hoover deserves a choice of death or everlasting life, just like the rest of them had. So we'll get to that in a little bit.
Serving his own purposes.
Pretty much, yeah. We're going back to Osaka again, and the heist is now going down. Tulip uses director Matsukata's ID for her and Featherstone to enter, and they're both caught on camera while they're doing it. So security is trying to figure out who these people are. Tulip gives them the finger from the room, and then they suit up, and they get ready to go capture them. They put on their armor and everything, but Jody enters the room before they have a chance to get out and tells them that he's there from Human Resources, and it's time to check their browsing history. We go back to Tulip and Featherstone, who are waiting to get the clearance. They know they get the clearance because Jody sends her a smiley face and their emoji, and they're good to go.
So silly.
Yeah.
And little did we know that Jody had a freaking mallet.
Yeah. he
didn't need one.
He bludgeoned people to death, and he sends a smiley face emoji.
Yes. Didn't need a mallet, though.
No, but it worked effectively.
Yeah.
So Tulip says we're good, and then they move in to rob this vault. So at the security door, they're hanging out and they're getting ready to do this. And the door's obviously locked. But Tulip determines that it's simple steel. She says it's simple steel with a side grate and a heavy-duty cylinder. Featherstone is in the background and she's busy like trying to hook up her computer to the door. She's going to hack into it. And Tulip busts out a lock-picking tool set. She tells her that she's got it. Tulip says that she can do it, and Featherstone advises against it. But Tulip asks if Featherstone just expects her to stand there, because they're still fighting every step of the way, and while she does everything. Featherstone tells her, unless you also earned a graduate certificate in computer science from MIT. But no, I checked your file. You got kicked out of the 10th grade, she says. So why don't you just chew your gum?
And we are now seeing this is Featherstone's bag right here. This is what she does well. She's saying, don't do that thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now we'll go forward, because then we're about to see what Tulip does well. They both show what they do very well. Featherstone is telling her, this is what's going to happen if you do this thing. I know because this is my groove.
She tries it, though, and what ends up happening is she actually fails the first time.
Totally.
And then Tulip says, screw this shit, and she goes to try it her way. So when Featherstone warns her not to do it, Tulip says, you wouldn't because you couldn't. And by the way, I didn't get kicked out of 10th grade. I dropped out. So she tries to pick this lock, or she puts the lock up against the door, and she ends up getting like a shock, I guess, and she's thrown back against the wall. And this is seen by Jody, too, as he's putting his hammer away back into his briefcase that only contains, Steve, the hammer and a crossword puzzle book.
Yep.
2 things the man loves. Featherstone tells Tulip, there are so many things that I could say right now, and then from behind her, Tulip takes the gum from her mouth and she sticks it to this lock-picking tool and throws it at the door. So I don't know if it was magnetized or whatever, but it unlocks the door and, she gets in. She puts
and now we see what she does.
Exactly.
Well. This is my thing that I do. So now we both see, okay, they're both smart. Perfectly fine. And now we know what, and that's why I thought, okay, this is leading somewhere, because they both now know what each other's weaknesses and strengths are.
I think that they both admire each other, but they're just too busy hating on each other to really deal with that.
Wouldn't you say, Dan? Wouldn't that make for a great show? To have those two having to work together general, in perpetuity?
Yeah,
no,
man.
But no big deal. They know this, and they're probably going to keep working together for the rest of this show. We're good.
Okay, I know where you're going.
Silly.
I forget I'm dealing with a different beast today, a different Hudson, so I'm sorry. I forgot.
Why would you do that? I mean, come on. Let's move forward.
Fair enough.
See what kind of shenanigans they get into.
So Tulip puts the gum back into her mouth. You're leaving me with a lot here. She puts the gum back into her mouth. She says, I can say so many things right now, but then they enter the vault. And they find these multiple levels of that are containing souls. Sorry.
Man. I did not expect that.
It was actually pretty cool looking.
That is souls right there. I want to know how they shot that. That is dope.
Do you know what it reminded me of? You ever seen those really cool wine cellars in Las Vegas where the people get on cables and they go up there and get that? That's what it reminded me of.
That does kind of, it reminded me of the Mission Impossible dude.
I almost said that too.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of that, but I loved the look. And I would have loved to see what that room really looks like.
Very aesthetically pleasing.
Nice. Oh, dude, loved it. Especially the offset of them in that room where you could see the metal exiting the door and then their suits. I just thought it was such a cool shot, dude. So dope.
Yeah, Tulip was impressed too because she's like, damn, when she opens up the door and looks up. Now, I hate to keep asking you this, Steve, but I just want to make sure before I go in, do you want me to play this? I've got one more audio clip. Do you have time to go into that? Or
let's do an audio clip and I'll go into it and then I'll dip, dive, duck, dodge, and dodge out of here.
So, guys, Steve's going to have to take off in a second here, but we're going to do one more audio clip. And this is the one where Hoover is now on the altar. And he's obviously chosen eternal life over the death of the bees. And I just thought you guys like to hear how this goes down. So this is the last audio clip. And then Steve will say a little something. And it's just going to be me and you. So here we go.
Hey, Janie.
Hey.
Oh, wait. Did I not have the clip? Oh, hell. I'm going to wing it. I don't have an audio clip for that. I thought I did. Okay. I messed up. So from the vault in Osaka, we end up back in New Orleans. And we're back with Les Enfants Toussaint again. Time has come. Hoover is now chosen. He's on the altar, and he's chosen eternal life over the death by the bees. And this is where Cassidy turns him again. So again, I think that he's doing this for the power. He's trying to get what Icarius has, and this is why I think he's chosen to do so in the first place. Just my guess. But You know, I was going to go into it a lot deeper, but I just want to talk about this with Steve real quick before he goes. So Hoover does, in fact, get turned.
Yes, he does.
And he comes up, he bares his fangs, he's happy, he's getting cheered by Les Evans Toussaint. And sorry to kind of brush over this, guys, but Steve, this is exactly what I thought you were talking about, and you said you were disappointed about something. Are you okay with Hoover becoming a vampire? I didn't think you would be. No.
Nope.
I thought it was going to bother you quite a bit.
Terrible move. Hoover's in his bag. Why take him out of his bag? Even if you're saying, no, we're going to keep him in his bag, he's going to be a vampire. Well, then we're in a different, I think he was getting into his groove, fumbling through trying to find these guys. You know, I mean, because technically you could have made it so that, he finds out that he's killing people and then have Hoover escape off the table and he's out. Yeah. Because there's no vampires that could chase him. And he fumbles out again. And now we have fun with Hoover. But now that he's a vampire, what are we going to do? We're going to get to see how he learns how to be a vampire and he can't touch the sun and, you know, he can't do that. But, and mind you, he walked out of he dipped out of the back garage or whatever. Well, then technically Icarius could have just zipped over there and got him.
As fast as he moved, yeah. But,
yeah, totally no problem.
But he didn't have the magic umbrella hat, Steve, from the UV rays.
That's enough. And my thing is, look, I get you guys wanted to do something different, which is perfectly fine, but then don't have Hoover get in his bag then. Have it so that we don't know where it's going. It kind of seems boring until this happens. I don't think this was a good move for them. I think that it now turns Hoover into some sort of cartoon character, whereas he was sort of believably absent-minded before. Now he's just a cartoon character.
I don't know if they did this to push his story forward, because I know that he kind of drops off quite a bit in the book, and then, you know, and we find out what happens to him. But now I don't know if that can actually happen to him.
It can't.
You know, actually, as I'm looking it up here, because I did put something out last night on Twitter. Let me know if you got to go, Steve. But I said, comic readers, what are your thoughts on Hoover's new situation? And most of the reactions have been pretty positive about it. Some people say, I don't know, I'm torn. You know, I don't know how I feel about this. I was more positive about it last night than I am today. I'll be honest with you. After thinking about it, I don't know why they did that either. I'm a little disappointed because I agree with you, Steve. I think that Hoover's found his arc. You know, they found his groove, and they're giving more to Malcolm Barrett to do. So yes, he can still be on the show, but it does break up the trio of the Samson trio. I mean, at least I think it does.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do. Now all bets are off for me. I have no way of predicting any of this. I didn't see it coming. And
I didn't either.
So I'm not entirely sure I'm happy about it, but I'll work with it.
Yes. And I think I have a feeling what's going to happen is he's going to, if Featherstone hopefully, well, they really can't do it in the next 2 episodes, but if Featherstone hopefully gets freed or gets out and she finds Malcolm or, Hoover, and Hoover's like, I'm a vampire, I need you to help me. And do they start working together and she tries to save him? No, because Featherstone won't do that. Featherstone will just kill him. He's a vampire.
Right.
She'll just kill him. And so there's nothing he can really do to be true to the characters. And unless Cassidy decides to save Hoover, which I don't think he will either. That's what I'm saying, man. I don't know where it goes. I have a feeling they're moving to the end of Hoover on the show.
It makes it look that way. Now, I'm not going to put words in the actors' mouths. I'm referring to Malcolm Barrett and also Julianne Emery. But looking at their tweets about that, again, I'm not putting words in their mouth, but I got a feeling that they're not thrilled. But they weren't complaining. I'm not saying that I'm not trying to cause any drama. They weren't saying anything negative against Preacher or AMC or anything like that.
They have views on they have opinions. That's
right.
It.
So I don't know. Maybe we'll find out soon. We'll see.
Yes.
I'm working on it.
People, I love y'all. This is the first day I got to go get my little man from school on his first day as a senior. Hopefully he wasn't tormenting freshmen. He said he's just going to ignore them. I think that's the best thing to do. Don't go sending him out for lunch or nothing like that. I'm going to go check him out and see what he did for his first day. I will be back with the normal full-on time next time we do this thing. I love y'all. Guess what, though? There's good news. See, y'all have been waiting. Y'all have been itching for a solo show from Dan. Because, here's what you don't know. Dan shines in his solo work. So what you're about to hear is going from the Jackson 5 to Michael Jackson. That's what you're about to hear. You're going to be like, we are going from I Want You Back to Billie Jean. That's a big jump. So, ladies and gentlemen, to stand on the stage for 5 minutes before making a move with his sunglasses on, we have Dan Ramirez. Peace out, homie.
All right, Steve. Talk to you later, man. All right, so I guess it's just us now, guys. I'll do this. Is kind of weird for me. I wasn't expecting to do this, but we'll get through it. Not a problem. You're just not going to hear the back and forth banter so much, but as I'm reading and going through this breakdown, I'll definitely stop and make some points. Fair enough? If not, I don't mind if you change it. I know you guys come to like a certain thing, but I'm here for you, so let's do this. So when Hoover arises, he bares his fangs, and like we've already talked about, yeah, it is a little weird. I'm not entirely sure how to feel about this yet, but they have sent us in a direction before. They sent me in a direction before, I should say, where I felt like it wasn't going to go down anymore. In other words, I was done with that particular story arc, and they've actually done a very good job of winning me back. So I'm going to stay optimistic on this one. That's all I'm going to say about it for now. Okay, so as everyone's celebrating the rebirth of Hoover, Icarius is watching from the distance, and suddenly he hears like crash, boom, bam, and he's alarmed because he turns around and he sees Cass falling down the stairs, and it turns out Cass was actually trying to fly. Cass tells him that he'd settle for floating at this point, but he's getting very frustrated. He wants to know why he can't do these things, but Icarius can. He's also messed up because he broke Mrs. Rosen, or Mima as I like to call her, broke her lamp, and Icarius lets him know about that too. But yeah, like I'm saying, Cass is frustrated. He says that he's turned 2 people, 3 now, and he still can't fly. And Icarius reminds him that he's turned hundreds of people to Cass's 3, and tells him to chill out, be patient about this. He also tells him that he was kind of flying the other night, trying to make him feel better. But of course, Cass says that I wasn't flying, you were helping me out. Icarius doesn't really take it too much further than that because he knows damn well that's what he was doing. Cass asks Icarius what he's not teaching him, and Icarius tells him patience, apparently, and gives him a little lovey-dovey kiss on the cheek, and he leaves to join Hoover and the rest of the Les Enfants du Sang. Icarius goes into praising Hoover and asks if he can even call him by FJ, his first name. He then leads the Les Enfants du Sang in a kind of lame, I've always thought this was lame, but a lame cheer of hip hip hooray. What does that really do? Cass watches suspiciously because Cass knows something's going down. I forget now that I'm just talking sort of at myself, talking to all of you guys. But in my opinion here, Cass definitely knows what's going down. He's just not exactly sure what it is yet. He just knows that something isn't right. But we'll talk about him in just a second because we're going to go back yet again to Osaka. So Tulip and Featherstone rob the vault, and they've taken every single soul that they can carry. And this is where Featherstone sarcastically tells Tulip that, oh, you haven't screwed anything up yet, which sets her off all over again. But as she's about ready to start going off on Featherstone, she's silenced by Featherstone, who tells her, hey, stay professional. So Tulip has to resort to taking those long, deep breaths that Jesse had, given her a little advice on. And they seem to be doing the trick. She gives Jody the thumbs up, who's watching from the security room. He puts his crossword book puzzle away, and he makes to leave, but is stopped by the cell phone that's ringing. We find out that Grandma is actually the one that's giving him a call, and I more or less just took from it that she's telling Jody that the plans have changed. So as they're all walking out of the bank, they pass the Angel of Death. Remember, she was sent by Satan to go get Tulip. And as they pass, the Angel of Death turns around to follow them. Sydney is her name. I was trying to remember that. So as she does, she's approached by someone who obviously wasn't listening to the in-service. And he tells her, I never do this, but your booty meat is off the charts. I want to squeeze it. And as he squeezes it, or he says he wants to squeeze it, she takes out this pretty cool looking, I don't know what it was, some blunt object that, she specifically uses for this types of thing. And she bashes this dude over the head. Their plane lands. And as they're landing, now I think this is important because this is something that was talked about last night. The person overhead announces that some of the overhead bags have shifted due to turbulence. But, more on that later. But just remember that they did, yes, Lindsay put it so eloquently that they were probably throwing some shade. And maybe that is the case. But I do think that it had a double meaning to it. And I do think that it's just some foreshadowing of what's to come. So as they're onboarding, Featherstone goes up to Tulip. And she just has a way of digging at her. I know that she hates her and everything, but this is, like Steve says, this is what Julianne Emery's doing best on this show, and Featherstone's killing it. And she says, look, I know that we don't get along, but I just want to let you know that you did a really great job. And you can tell that Tulip's sincerely oh, okay, yeah, well, thanks. I appreciate it. But of course, Featherstone was psyching her out and tells her, I was joking, laughs at her, and then turns and walks away. And Tulip's just left standing there well, so was I. Tulip makes to him board, but she's confronted by Sydney, the Angel of Death, who calls her by her name. Tulip keeps cool, though. She pulls out that ID pass that has Hiroki Marusaka's or Masukata's name on it and shows it to the Angel of Death. And she's like, look, this is me. Kind of stares her down whatever. And that's when the Angel of Death is my mistake, and she makes to leave. But Tulip calls her back, and she gets her dig in finally. And she points out that the description of the person that she's talking about, again, the Grail, dressed like a Grail officer, brown hair and back from Osaka, definitely fits the description of the person that's just a few people ahead, and it is in fact Featherstone. So you're like wondering what's going to be coming of that, right? We find out very quickly because we see Tulip get into Jodie's truck, and Jodie asks her where Featherstone is because he's obviously wanting to know because, well, you'll find out in just a second. Tulip tells her that she didn't make it and that a cop lady took her, and she opens up her briefcase. Now, while she's doing this, she finds out that she accidentally grabbed Featherstone's briefcase, which had the laptop in it. She needed the one with the souls. So this is what I was getting at about the turbulence. A lot of people were like wondering, well, why would she take that? Or, again, like Lindsay had said, maybe they're just throwing shade. Or another thing someone said was, well, this is the Tulip O'Hare curse. This is just doing shit like this. I think it's really as simple as this. The turbulence knocked the luggage around and Tulip got the wrong one. Simple as that. I think that we're thinking too much about it, but that's just my opinion. If you feel differently about that, please let me know. And sincerely, let me know. Tulip knows she's screwed up and she's just like, ugh, O'Hare. But she's trying to get a plan at the same time. And she proposes that they go and find the lady cop at the station and just get the case back. But this is when Jodie was expecting to have Featherstone in the car. And he tells her that wasn't a cop and there's no station. Tulip asks where Featherstone is being taken. And then we cut to commercial. We're going to find out that very much soon. And we're going to go into it a lot on the next episode from what I understand. Now we're back at Mima's basement again. And Cass is cleaning up the broken lamp, which he, Icarius made him feel bad about. He's handling his business. The guy makes a mess. He cleans it up. Icarius enters to tell him that he's leaving with Hoover to take him to the airport, and Cass questions the haste of it all. He's like, why is he ready now? Why is he leaving so soon? But Icarius tells Cass that Hoover is in fact ready and that there's no need to wait. So then he leads the Les Toussaint in a chant of fly, fly, fly. Now, even though Cass is suspicious about this, he stops Hoover as he's walking out and he tells him, look, you get no second chance at this, so don't be a dick. And then he hands him his trusty umbrella hat, and Hoover tells him, you're a good guy. A few minutes later, Cass goes out to dump the trash because remember he was cleaning up the lamp. And this is where he finds that bloody bitten airplane pillow that belonged to Lisa. At least I think it was the one that belonged to Lisa because that would make the most sense in the garbage can. In typical Preacher fashion, we're now bumping around and we're rapid pace as usual. And we go to Icarius' garage. And this is where he and Hoover are sitting in the car. And Hoover's trying to make conversation with them. But Icarius wants to go into his vampire shit. He's not paying attention to it. So he puts on Don Giovanni, which is the song that he plays right before he killed Lisa in the last episode. I shouldn't call it a song. It's like this opus. It's a big classical piece. But Hoover recognizes it instantly, and he says, Don Giovanni. Now, this is something that I wanted to talk about for just a second, because I think that it does show what a dick Icarius actually is, because he actually has something rehearsed. He's rehearsed this monologue that he uses, and he even puts the sunglasses down in the same way right before he kills his victim. He talks about how why would he send another vampire out into the world and everything. And quite honestly, I don't have the notes in front of me of what he exactly said, but I do know for a fact that it was exactly the same thing. So this is all just for show, and though it's murderous, it's kind of lame. He bares his teeth at Hoover and he's just about to attack, but he gets on the window and it's Cass standing there. So Icarius gets his normal face back on, calms himself down, puts the fangs away, and he rolls down the window to talk to Cass and asks hey, what's going on? Why are you here? Now, this is the part where Cass has now turned the tables, and he calls out Icarius for what he's done, feeding on the innocents to get his powers and such. Icarius tries to blow this off and just tells Cass that they'll talk about it when he gets back, but Cass isn't having it. And he tells him, you're not going anywhere, you piece of shit. But Icarius is way too fast for him and flies, I thought this was cool, flies through the car window, slams Cassidy against the wall and knocks him unconscious, and he just drops down and he's sitting there looking at him. And you can kind of tell that he felt bad about that, but it is what it is. He turns around and he finds that Hoover's bounced. He made it out. Luckily, Cass gave him that hat because now, you know how I feel about these magic hats, but it's keeping him safe from the sun. And we don't know what's going to happen to Hoover. That's the last that we see of him. But we'll find out. And again, I'm hoping that they do him right because I like Malcolm Barrett on the show. I want him to stay on the show. And I know that they're doing this for a reason, but I'm just hoping it's the right reason. So back at Grell headquarters, we have Dr. Slotnick presenting her next cocktail to the Allfather, which combines the DNA of Thomas Jefferson and that of TV's Wayne Brady. I don't know which one's evil in that case, which one's good and which one's bad. But she says, I call it the Tom Brady, and holds it up over her head. 60cc syringe, just full of some Windex or something. So in the background, we have the Allfather who's talking to Slotnick. And Jesse and Star are trying to hash out this plan where Star gets Jesse's gun and kills the Allfather, but they're interrupted by the Allfather. The Aronique tells Star that he's one of his most trusted servants, to which Star, of course, agrees to. So Allfather presents Star with a job of fetching him a few dozen beignets, and he wants him to do it now. So he basically just gets rid of him. In the background, we see Humperdoo. He's being injected with the Tom Brady concoction, or cocktail, I should say. And Star has no choice. He leaves Jesse to be there with the Allfather. And this is where Jesse tells the Allfather that it was him that Genesis chose. You know, he's still trying to keep this thing in him. And the Allfather questions that statement by calling him out for being a drunk and a blasphemer. He tells Jesse that he was a mistake. But Jesse tells him that he's the mistake that's going to find God and hold him to account. Now, guys, this hit my, it made my little meter drop. I know that this is the story of what Jesse's trying to do. This is his plot in Preacher. But I have a feeling that came straight from the book, and I honestly forgot to check it until just right this second. But that, for some reason, I could be wrong on that, but I think that's a direct quote from the book. When Slavnik says they're ready to begin, the Allfather tells Jesse that he won't have to do any of this anymore. None of his plan's really going to matter anymore after this, and that he's going to have everything that God will ever need. Allfather gives Jesse a jolt, and Genesis goes right back into the other Humperdoo. So at this point, Humperdoo rises very slowly, and the Allfather says, "Say the command." And Humperdoo now uses the word and says, "Bow before me," which of course they both do, to Jesse's horror. Allfather's thrilled. Jesse's like, "Oh shit." Now, because this is so different, this is actually a point where I was like, okay, it's anybody's guess. I have no idea what's going to happen here, but we find out rather soon. I'm thinking that Humperdoo is going to start, having the power and they're going to start using it on people and things, but no, that's not the case at all. But what we find out is that Slavnik, who's been wearing ear protection the whole time, didn't hear the command from Humperdoo and shoots him in the head, and this sends Genesis right back into Jesse again. So Allfather is pumped. He's thrilled now, and he knows that the test was a success, so he says, "Good, now bring in the Messiah." And Jesse just watches. He's still completely horrified about this. And we're almost to the end here. The last scene is Eugene, who says to himself, "God's got a plan. I don't know what it is, but it's something he wants me to do. God's got a plan. That's what the Bible says. Trust in God." And he's going on and on with this, kind of almost like a mantra. Like he's probably been repeating this to himself the whole time. As the camera pans out, we see that Hitler and the Saint of Killers are right next to him, and they're soon joined by the Angel of Death, who has Featherstone with her, thinking that it's Tulip. They're all waiting at that bus stop to hell. We saw it on season 1 when DeBlanc and Fuhrer were waiting to go to hell. And this is just another one of those stops. Hitler looks over at Featherstone and he says, "Hello, do you by any chance have a phone? I need to text a friend of mine." And then we immediately see the Circuit Works parking lot where our buddy Rick, not really our buddy, he's actually a Nazi, is sitting in his car and he's listening to some propaganda on his stereo, and he gets that text. He looks into it and he says, "Oh shit, they got Hilter." And that's the end, guys. That's where it wraps up right there. So this whole Hilter and Eugene thing has got to come to a head. I'm hoping it's going to be next episode because we have bigger fish to fry with 2 episodes left. So it's anybody's guess on how it's going to go. I want to thank you guys for listening to just me. I know it makes the show a lot different. I wasn't aware that Steve had to leave. Not a big deal, but it's not the norm. And I hope that you're still sticking around to listen right now. Stay put, okay? Because I really do want to announce something to you and hopefully give you guys a little treat before season's end or immediately after season's end. I'm working on it. Before I go, I'm going to give you a quick little rundown of how you can, in fact, get in touch with the show. Please feel free to email us at askthewordpodcast@gmail.com. Hit us up on Twitter @word_podcast. You can get my personal feed at Dan Q Public and my buddy Steve at @SE_Hudson Music. Find links to all these things and more at www.heroesofnoise.com. While you're there, please hit us up with the email. Subscribe to the show from there. Subscribe to Heroes of Noise, our other podcast that's going to be coming back real strong, real soon. Subscribe to it all right there on that page. And please, when you're there, please have a listen to the shows. And if you like what you're hearing, by all means, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcast, and they have that type of option. Please do so. It only helps us out. We just want to give more content to people. We want to be able to reach the masses a little bit more. Know what I'm saying? But that's it for me, guys, and I had a great time. It got a little weird towards the end because I'm not used to doing this solo thing, so I hope I didn't bug you too much. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up right now. For Steve Hudson, my name is Dan Ramirez, and thank you guys very much for listening.